This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast featuring Colteastwood, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the XNC Podcast live. Welcome. If you're here, you are amazing. I've got amazing guests today, but welcome to the XNC Podcast. If you're here, you're not playing Halo Infinite, but if you are here, maybe you're listening to us in the background. That's totally awesome. What a day. It's a celebration of Xbox's 20th anniversary, and I've got two of the biggest Xbox guys in the community. I've got John Clarke from Xbox Era. John, how are you tonight in the UK?
I'm very good, although I have to be somewhat low energy because everybody's asleep. And I've just been playing 4 hours of Halo Infinite, so I'm all smiles over here. A bit
Give us a woo and wake everybody up real quick.
No. You haven't met my wife. She mad. She's mad.
All right, welcome to the show. Pleasure. King David of Iron Lords Podcast, a good friend of mine, a true friend that I've met in real life, and welcome back to the show yet again. How are you?
Today I have a wild range of emotions. This is an incredible day for Xbox fans. For people in the ecosystem, it was a welcome shock, because we just got a shock with Forza. So I'm doing fantastic. And yeah, I can be a little bit loud because I'm downstairs in the basement while everybody's all over the top.
Wise, very wise.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a really good day. For those of you in North America, you got up in the first part of the morning and watched this Xbox event. It was 10 o'clock for me, so I guess it was close to noon. But yeah, what a great show. We're going to get into the Xbox 20 event, but I want to kind of give you, the audience here, an idea what we're going to talk about. There's some stuff that's happened on Twitter, some good stuff and some bad stuff. Xbox had an amazing holiday, but before we get into the event, I want to ask my guests. I'm going to go first really quick, but we're going to talk about how we got into the Xbox ecosystem from the get-go. And my story is kind of strange. I'll try and keep it short, but I got into the Xbox ecosystem unofficially in around 2004. I got Halo Combat Evolved on a PC. It ran on integrated graphics. I don't even know what it was running like back then, but I played Halo because I knew people talked about Halo for a while, but yeah, I played that on PC. And then I didn't play anything on Xbox until 2007, right before Christmas. I bought an Xbox original when everyone had the 360, and it came with Halo 2 and a bunch of other games. So I got into Halo, and then it was maybe 6 months later, I said, forget this Xbox original. I'm gonna shell out for a 360, and it was over after that. Like, I was a game junkie again because when I was 17 or 16, I was on the Super NES. So that'll give you my age. And my my younger brother walked in after school and goes, "What are you doing?" And I was sitting there after school playing Street Fighter 2. He goes, "You're such a nerd." He goes, "Everyone at school calls you Nintendo Freako." I'm like, "What?" I'm like,
wear that nickname with pride.
Yeah, I was like super embarrassed. So right when I was in the middle of high school, I pushed the Nintendo away, and I didn't play games for like 10 years. Really not at all. So that's my story. I really came into the Xbox around 2007. So I am a newbie to the Xbox ecosystem. John, I got to hear how you got into this Xbox.
Oh man, I'll try and keep this succinct, but I'm surprised that you'd consider yourself a newbie, seeing as you've been such a big voice over the last couple of years. So I guess you make up for it. I had an N6. I went through some consoles. I had a slightly different route. I skipped SNES and Sega Mega Drive and all of that jazz. I went in via the BBC Micro. That's how old I am.
Wow.
Which was, we were talking about this the other day. Repton was one of my favorite games on that little console. Then it was an Amiga, PS1, an N64, and then I was walking past a local game shop in where I live, and they had an Xbox 2001 Xbox Pod with Silent Cartographer demo and 2 pads. And me and my younger brother, we were like, after a couple of minutes of trying to figure out that this is move and this is look, we kind of were just completely blown away. And we literally went straight home. We bundled up the N64, traded it all in, left with an Xbox, 2 controllers, and a copy of Halo. And my love for the platform and that particular series has long withheld. And, I've got to do some amazing things over the years. I've been at launch events for Halo 5, for Master Chief Collection. I've done ads for Microsoft back in the day, which were interesting, and I'm not going to point anywhere where you can find them because it's the only time I've worn a full face of makeup. Which
Really?
Yeah, which I sorely need most of the time. But it's a tremendous day, and it's a really, really special day for me as well. We got to do some cool things today, which we'll talk about in a bit. But really, really. The energy in the community at the moment is just palpable, and it's really nice to just celebrate with that incredible community that we've got.
Awesome. What about you, King? What's your entry into the Xbox ecosystem?
Well, I've had every console since Pong.
Okay,
he wins.
Yeah, I was that dude that hooked up the paddles to the back of the TV and that was on the floor, that had the TV on top of it, the floor model that died. And I think we all had it. It was like in a wooden inbox case. And I've been gaming on every console since Pong. If you name it, I had it. Every handheld, I've had it. And after Sega untimely demise of my Dreamcast, and at the time I'm playing Sony PlayStation, Microsoft had, I've read books about Halo coming. It started off on a PC game, and Bungie was purchased by Microsoft, and I'm like, what's going on? And the Halo game was shifting over there. It turned from a real-time strategy game into a first-person game, and you saw all this stuff. And we went to EB Games, and this was my introduction to Halo. They had kiosks all over the city, and we went inside, and I saw the console, picked up the big giant Duke controller, and I saw the box. The box looked pretty. Compared to everything else that we had, the box looked solid. It looked performable. Like it looked durable, but it looked American, right? It looked like this was made in America, and America always makes big stuff that's rugged and ridiculous. And I'm like, this looks incredible. Like the green thing on the top. I'm like, this is insane. Played Halo and walked into a dark area, and you hit the white button and your light came on. That moment, I was automatically hooked. Gave them my money at EB Games, sat out when it came out. I did the New York City launch where The Rock was there and Bill Gates was there. And around this period of time, it's Bill Gates is the billionaire enigma, right? So you thought this was just like on a whim and you didn't know how long it would last, but it felt like a ride, like a roller coaster ride. Like somebody with a lot of money came to your city to have a party and you were invited. And the whole city shut down from 42nd Street to welcome Bill and this Xbox. And we got our Xboxes and we went home. And I'm not going to tell you that I had a down moment anytime with that console, because it was a ride, like a wave like no other. And it felt like the spiritual successor to my Sega, which that void was gone. And there's a lot of reasons why, but I've been gaming with Xbox since day one. Day exact one, and probably before when they was in concept. But yeah, so to get to this point is absolutely insane. They have built from this year to going out the door to the end of this year to a crescendo. It's like an incredible build all the way through from January of this year all the way to right now in November, and we're going to close out in December with the campaign of Halo. It's an amazing ride throughout this holiday season for what they're bringing, and their games have, since people want to eat Metascores like they're crazy,
right,
have been averaging in this high 80s, 90s situation. And it's taking away the narrative that the Xbox doesn't have any games, or they have crappy filler games, and our Game Pass won't be successful. All the crow that has been going around, this crow pie that people are eating, people can't deny them no more. Right. So they have to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Oh man, it's such a big holiday. Like this whole year since the spring has been really good for Xbox. And people are getting super excited. I think we're going to see a switch, like between which is the big platform, and PlayStation's had a really good run, and not every generation's the same. But this is going to be one of those moments where Xbox is really big and PlayStation is really big, and I think it's going to be a lot of people are going to be happy. There's a small amount of people who are going to be really mad, and they're going to be throwing fits. Shout out to Hargeet Chani with a message from the channel membership. Says, what a celebration. Great emotional presentation. New back and pack games with FPS boost on 360 games. Halo multiplayer coming out now, which is where some people are probably at right now. Mic drop, he says. Xbox bringing the hype. So we are in a really good spot. And we're kind of Halo veterans. I mean, I came in kind of late. I mean, Halo 2 is the first Halo I played on console. And it was funny when you were saying, King, that you guys were trying to figure out the controllers. Like when I was first playing that first level of Halo 2, like I was walking around like trying to figure out, and my brother-in-law, who's like 10 years younger than me, he would show me, he's like, no, when you want to go right, you want to go like this. When you want to go left, you want to go like this. And I'm like, what? And like, he was like, when you go up the stairs, you want to pull the thumbsticks apart. And I could not fathom it because I'd always played on a mouse or a D-pad. I just couldn't. The two sticks was a foreign thing to me, but once you get it, you got it. So, speaking of the really old stuff, I got to ask you guys about the GTA trilogy, which was like this. Everyone's really excited about a remaster, and Rockstar, they phoned this thing in on a old cordless phone. Like this was so bad. This whole thing. John, did you buy the GTA trilogy remaster?
You know, it's funny. We discussed this earlier this weekend, and I am not a big GTA fan. Like, and I'll tell you why. Every time a GTA comes out, I buy into the hype, and I pick it up, and then I realize that the world that Rockstar can create is unmatched, unparalleled in terms of just NPC life cycle. Like there's a video on a couple of video series that I've watched on Red Dead Redemption 2 where they follow an NPC, and this NPC has a life that is just built into the game, and it's incredible, but the game feels like crap to play. And it can be the prettiest game in the world, and it can be the most brilliant narrative, whatever you want to deliver. I don't think GTA ticks either of those boxes. Just very incredible design in terms of how an open world works, but the games never feel good. So it's not to say I've not played them all. I've played 1, 2, Vice City, GTA 3, GTA 4, and I've never completed a single one. The closest I came was GTA 4, which is arguably, like now looking back in hindsight, the worst feeling one of all of them, which is hilarious that this is my point. But I'm sad for people that are big fans of the games, right? Because this came out of nowhere. They showed off a bit of gameplay. The art style that they went with, where it was kind of like this stylized reimagining, I was like, you know what? That kind of works. Yeah. It brings that old graphical style that was trying to be realistic back in the day in a modern edge. And to see the kind of bugs and the hiccups that the game is suffering from, I think it's now rated as the lowest user Metascored game ever.
Oh, I haven't even looked.
It's apparently a whopping 0.5 on Metacritic from a user score perspective. And that's not, gosh. I mean, that's voice of the consumer saying, hey, this isn't okay. So
That is merited.
I just feel bad for people that are huge fans of GTA that might have thought, I'm going to relive all the fun I had in Vice City or San Andreas.
Sure.
Shame. And I think Rockstar should probably make a public statement and actually put some corrective, measures in place here to actually fix these things up to where they need to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love this, but this was a bad move. King, where are you sitting on this? I know you've got like a strong opinion about what Rockstar did. They didn't show anything before they released the game.
Okay, well, one, I got the San Andreas that was released inside Game Pass, right? And San Andreas for me is probably the best one out of all of them. Just for me.
Yes.
Right?
Me too.
I love the music and all the other ones, and I love the story narrative. I love the Ballad of Gay Tony. I loved all of that stuff. That stuff was great, but particularly San Andreas hit me in I guess because the character was African American, and they went
in the era.
But at the same time, I was from New York, and I always fell in love with LA's style. So it had such gravitas to the story. It felt so LA. And then when I got to LA, I was like, oh, LA is just like San Andreas. So,
yes!
I can't lie. So when I saw it there, even after I had got Forza and I was playing Forza, I saw it, I said, I got to jump into it. And I was like, it took me back to when I first played it on my PlayStation. And yeah, the stylized graphics to it. Yeah, I didn't expect them to change anything really to it too much. But it just gave me a welcome feeling of back home with a little bit more polish. I was kind of thrown off with the fact that it had a performance and graphics mode. I was like, it's kind of weird. That didn't even make any sense. But again, playing it saw a little bit of hiccups. But again, I think this game is really made to bring people up to speed who's never played it. I think this game is actually for people who's never played the originals, and this is an introduction into the world of GTA and going on. Then you get you to go into 5 definitive version of 5. I never thought of it that way.
I mean, I don't feel like it's made for new people. I feel like they just tried to give you a polished version of what you played. The problem is it kind of feels like I remember it though, King. Like, this is crazy. Thank goodness it came to Game Pass. I bought the whole thing. I bought the whole trilogy. I spent, I think it was $60. I bought the whole thing, and I knew I probably would play 3. I never have, and it's really old. But I never finished Vice City, and San Andreas was when I before I got 360. I had the Xbox original for about 6 months, and I traded a guitar pedal. I always got guitars, but I traded a guitar pedal for San Andreas. And my buddy goes, here, I'll trade you this. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to play those games. I've heard about GTA, and I was not really gaming a whole bunch. And at first when I played, I was like, oh, man, this is violent. But, like, King, we grew up. We were teenagers during 92 when the LA riots were going on. And we were, like, gangster rap and the whole scene of that. All that was all part of us. And, like, I'm a different person than you, right, King? We're not the same type of person. But that really impacted me. And Rockstar phoned this thing in. I'm still enjoying it. I'm playing it. I had to stop it to play a game that is way better. Yeah. I don't remember what game that is. But
anything.
I love that. Brutal. Shout out to John in the aviator. He's looking great. That way, if he gets tired, he can sleep and then wake back up for a question.
It's literally tired eye syndrome. It's like 1:20. So don't take it personally. I just don't.
No. It looks good. It looks good. Yeah, this is a big. I don't know why they did this, King. Like, why would they? This is a huge deal, and they put like. What they do? Put their B team on this and say, "Look, don't just work 20-hour weeks on this." What happened?
They work. It's a cash grab, but they're working on the remaster of 5, and they're trying to get 6 out the door. And this is it should have been a love letter to the fans. But again, I honestly
it's Post-it note.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. But I mean, when you saw the Grove Street crew doing it, I said, when I saw it, actually, you know how they do Rockstar. And then it was like Rockstar North. And then it was like Grove Street Crew. I was like, I did not remember that. and then, I said, wow. And then you do the history behind who the Grove Street Rockstar is. They're the ones that do the mobile stuff. And okay, now it makes sense. But they had their turn at it. And I finished all the Grand Theft Autos except for 5. to be honest with you. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So this game again, I honestly believe it's for kids like my son when he can get permission to play it. For those who didn't get a chance to play those old games, you know, and just want to do the story, and right before 6 comes out, get 5 the remaster. It's for the new people. You know, we
Yeah, it
already
must be.
did these stories. These stories are long. These fetch it quests pissed you off. How many times were you in the middle of a fetch it quest that a glitch pop up and then you can't finish that quest and you got to start over from the beginning? You really want to relive all of that stuff? No, so it's not really for us. It's really for them.
It can't be, because I went back. I'm like, how did I deal with these missions? They're so irritating. And then you start over and you have to watch. You have to skip the cutscene. Then you have to drive to the location.
Yes.
Everything's still the same. You still walk through a door and get a loading screen.
Yeah, it's modern open world games. It's just, you know, like I can barely play one. Like, imagine buying a package of 3 of them. Like, God.
Are you lecturing me?
I can't think of anything worse, Colt. 3
I know.
giant, unfinishable open world trekathons. No, it's not for me.
Honestly, I feel dumb that I supported this type of port. And I know King says like this is for the new people, but if you're someone who grew up on the last several years playing games, if you played this version of San Andreas, or Vice City's even worse, it has even more restrictions as far as how the game plays. I can't imagine a younger person, like a Gen Y or Gen Z person, trying to play this and go, what is this game? And I feel bad that I support it. But shout out to Neil B for becoming a channel member. He's got the Raz from Psychonauts 2 icon, and welcome to the channel. We got DJ with the $5 super chat. Thank you. Says Lord King Swami, how big is Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer's boat right now?
Well, I told you he has a 75-footer, and ACG corrected me and said, "Isn't that a yacht?" So
I was watching that show. Yeah,
absolutely nuts. So
yeah. Shout out to you, to the Iron Lords podcast. I was able to stay home Sunday morning to watch Iron Lords. It's not often I get to catch your show live, and that was such a great one last week. But we got Uriel Delgado. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, I hope more 360 games get FPS boost and resolution enhancements. I want Lost Odyssey to look crisp and be 60 FPS. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but we will not get more back and pat. We'll explain why a little later on the show. But shout out to over 500 people who are watching XNC Podcast right now. And I feel like if you're here, maybe you forgot that Halo multiplayer is live and you can play right now, or you're taking a break. That reminds me of the joke on Simpsons when he's like, it's a Super Bowl, and he runs out of church. But yes, thank you so much for being here. We've got a great show. We've got a lot of cool stuff. Xbox had a massive day, and this is the XNC Podcast. We're live right now on YouTube. And if you're listening after the fact, we are on Spotify, Google, Pocket Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, and a couple other places. So this is always on demand, and timestamps, all that good stuff that makes a podcast worth digesting. So, and I'm here with John Clarke from Xbox Era, and he is here live with us all the way from the UK. So it's super late for him. So give him a shout out. It's so awesome.
I couldn't not say no. And for the audience's benefit, Colt asked me, and I was like, I believe I used an expletive. I was like, yeah. And then I've had a day. I've had a hell of a day, right? And I completely forgot until I was happening to browse Twitter between matches in Halo, and I was like, oh,
gotta be a show.
He messaged me, goes, "Oh, I suppose I'm on." I'm like, "Is that okay?"
Hey, I couldn't let you down now, like, you know. It's Colteastwood we're talking about here. You know, this isn't some backwater, you know, like kind of show. I got to show up.
You can't phone it in like Rockstar.
Exactly.
I told my wife the same thing. She's like, "You don't do late night podcasts. That's one." And I say, "Yeah, but it's Colt." Right?
He's so kind, man.
Yeah, and I said, and I didn't know that Xbox had a show today. So Attic told me after. Okay, so all right, you hit me up before I found out that we had a show today, right? So I'm like, yeah, of course, yeah, hell yeah, right? Just hell yeah, right? Colt doesn't get no, right? Okay, cool. And then Attic is like, yeah, so who's doing the show with me tomorrow? I'm saying, huh? The what?
Oh no!
It's at 1:00, and then I had a play date with my son. And it just so happened that we played Halo together today. It was just really fun. that was just a beautiful moment. I said, baby, I need to lay down and at least get an hour and a half worth of sleep right before Colt, and I put my alarm and ran back downstairs, and I'm here.
Sounds nice, doesn't it, John?
How good. I rarely nap, but I napped the other day, and it was the singular best moment of my week.
Delicious.
It wasn't actually. I've had some really good moments this week.
Yo, the Xbox Nap Podcast.
How old are we now that we actually look forward to a nap? Like, you schedule nap time.
We went on a big parenting tangent on Saturday, and it went on for like half an hour, and we were like, we're going to be boring everyone in the chat, chatting about kids and tiredness and how it doesn't get any better.
Chat, speak up in the chat. If you've got kids, let us know in the chat and show your support that we know that what we're going through when we're walking around like zombies, walking through the grocery store or whatever. But yeah, shout out to that. I also got to say, shout out to your content creators. You got people like John and King David who are on the ball, except when King doesn't know there's an Xbox event. But shout out to your content creators. I got a call from Randolph Thor like 2 hours ago, and he's like, hey, I made a video. I watched the thing, and he went right to work and made a video. And so, give them the love for giving you a little bit of entertainment. Shout out to Sean LeBrie in the chat. Is another good friend of mine. I met. He said 3 kids, and I'm dead. I've got 3. It's crazy. Yeah. So let's talk about something kind of crazy. This won't take but a couple minutes, but let's talk about what happened with Twitter. A few nights ago, Twitter's account was gone. Like, just gone. There was rumors that Halo Infinite was going to go live with multiplayer on Monday, which is now for us. And Twitter's account just was gone.
The Xbox main account.
Sorry. Yes, thank you. The Xbox Twitter account. Sorry. Twitter was that'd be kind of cool if Twitter was gone. That might save me some trouble. But the Xbox account gone. Yep. John, what happened? You've got the inside scoop. You were you scrambling around? What happened?
I don't know. I saw that it was gone, and I saw lots and lots of very amusing memes from Stein, who was like, I'm working on it. That's an awkward conversation to go and have with the boss on, the day before your big Xbox 20th anniversary show. You accidentally wipe all 16.9 million followers from your Twitter account and close it off. I've got to give props to Stein and his team, right? Because when Xbox Series S leaked and they just posted that perfect meme of like, rumbled, similarly for this, when they did lots of very funny memes, but then when the account came back, it came back with 0 followers. Yeah. And they literally put New Game Plus. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, got to hand it to these guys. Things happen. I think someone pressed a button and made a boo-boo. I don't know the detail of it. It's a hell of a boo-boo. And it would have, it's one of those things that I would be like, oh no, I need to call a person. I need to call someone more important than me because this is bad. But they fixed it and it's all okay now. So yeah, it must have been a bit of a moment in Xbox HQ for a while there, I think.
Yeah.
King, what do you think happened? Do you have like conspiracy theory for us?
I actually have no conspiracy theory about it. Somebody made a mistake, clicked on something like they was probably trying to remove a troll. Something happened and they hit the button. I knew about this information.
I'm going to look right now.
About this multiplayer thing for a minute. And I thought I was being trolled, to be honest with you. And it's just like, whatever. But then when that happened, I said, they're probably doing like Fortnite. Remember when Fortnite had the black screen?
Having an event?
Yeah, right? I was like, maybe
it's an ARG.
Awareness, I don't know.
Well, I actually remembered now. It's just popped into my tired, sleep-deprived brain. I think what happened was they tried to change their birthday on Twitter.
Oh, God.
And that's what caused the issue.
Did they end up changing their birthday on Twitter?
I have no idea.
I'm actually looking to see where the there's a deactivate button on the mobile. That's why I'm checking on my phone.
No, because I think
they don't have their birthday on here. But
so from memory, I think there's a bug or something that if you I think you can change your birthday. You can only do it like once or twice, and I think they must have done it wanting to make it be the 15th of November. Yeah. And it broke something. I can't remember where I read or heard that, but I think that might be the case. So don't quote me on it. It's not gospel, but yeah.
It's crazy because some people well, I refollowed it, the Xbox account, but after about 2 hours, like they went up to 10,000 followers. Then they were at 4.9 million, and then finally all 16 million were back. And I bet like they were like, you know, they were sweating bullets because they were getting ready to do that big event for the weekend. And that night, for me in the US, it was the evening. It was like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. That night, that Halo Infinite multiplayer thing had been shared by Nate the Hate and a couple other big accounts that, this is the bombshell they're going to drop. And so, gosh, man, they were having a hard time. Let's talk about, I got to give shout out to Risk It for the Biscuit, Australian boy with $8 super. Thank you so much, Risk It. He says, I got 4 Rugrats. Kids are great. They make life so much more interesting than it needs to be. They're all beautiful, though, and it's so true. I wouldn't trade them, but I wonder what they're worth. If I can get like that Halo Infinite special console, maybe. No,
loan them out for like every now and then.
I mean, I need them. Somebody's got to do the dishes, but let's talk about the Just One, King, because we're waiting for the Just One, and I'm not sure if Hellblade or Fable constitutes the Just One. Reset for the audience what the Just One is. Let's talk about Compulsion Games, King David.
Okay.
What's the Just One?
Just One is Lord Cognito. Happy birthday.
Yes.
Yeah. It's his thing. I don't need it, but Just One is, they want a clone of the Sony formula. Single player, over the shoulder, story driven, and new IP.
Sad dad.
It has to be a new IP. Mature game with hardcore triple A graphics. Shout out Fonzarelli. They want to see their money, the studio's money in the graphics and the story, and I understand it. Do I need it? No, I've been bludgeoned to death with all of Sony's titles following that same formula, right? So I'm at a point right now where I'm at a new experience dude. I'm a new experience guy, so that's why I live and dwell inside Game Pass for the games that I would not normally purchase. Right? Like Backbone and stuff like that. Those games that will miss my radar because 1, they're probably indie games, or 2, I'm being prudent with my money, and I'm not going to actually, purchase a game without trying it first or whatever. But I understand what they're asking for. They want those standout games. I always thought we had those games. You understand? So we had Rise, Son of Rome, but
arguably the first Sony game of the generation.
And to this day, it still looks fantastic. But I think they wanted to continue. So if we would have got Rise, and we would have had Rise 2, and we'd have been on to Rise 3, I think that whole call for the Just One wouldn't have popped up. But they want it, they cried for it, and I believe it's going to be delivered by Compulsion. And I hope so, because certain demographics of our population of the Xbox core call for it, need it, and they want a champion to go up against Sony's best and brightest. So I think that's what it's about.
Okay, John, do you subscribe to this whole thing about this whole formulaic thing that Xbox needs?
No, I don't. Do you know what I think it is? And I apologize if I cause any offense to anyone, especially Lord Cognito, because it's his birthday, and we've spoken about Just One, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's the Xbox fans want a PlayStation style game. That's not what they want, because if I want a PlayStation style game, I'll go to the cinema. Right. If I no, seriously, no, I'm joshing. No, it's more, and this is as sad as it is, right? Games are games, good games, bad games. They come in all shapes and sizes, right? But the beauty of a third person, slow walk and talk over the shoulder, heavily narrative, I'm trying to be a movie, honestly, take me seriously as a medium art game style stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Is that critics love that crap, right? And I don't mean all critics, but I mean a lot of mainstream critics absolutely love that, They slap a 10 out of it. Oh, it told such a powerful story, even though it took control from me hundreds of times.
I love
and
it.
It wasn't actually a game at that point, but it was so powerful. And here's a 10. And then they get loads of them, and then and it's a console war thing. They just lord it over everybody else, and it bores the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I love how you censor yourself. That's great.
I realize I'm British and I swear like every other word normally, so I'm trying to be responsible and well behaved. But I'm
you look like Jason Statham right now, though, John. I hope that doesn't offend you.
A fat, tired Jason Statham. Maybe. I need to get a little bit more Essex with it, though. Be a little bit more grunting. But no, it's just list wars, in my opinion. A good game is a good game. I think Forza Horizon 5 has proven that, and I think for the first time, despite the fact that it is a consistently always scoring highly series, this time is the first time where people look at the year's games and go, I kind of have to vote for this to be game of the year. Like, I kind of have to say, if I look across the smorgasbord of games, I haven't got a really, and I can see some people clinging to Returnal. All right, you can cling to it, but it's the best game this year is Forza Horizon 5. The critics all agree that it is. Let it win game of the year. It drives me nuts.
It won't be nominated.
Yeah. Oh, it's a racing game. It can't win. Why? Oh, because it hasn't got a narrative. Because it didn't make you feel bad. Come on. Sorry. This is late night uncensored Sicca Mechanico now. You're getting a very different
Sicca Mechanico.
They probably didn't play the game because it does have a story.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I mean, the story definitely doesn't shine. The rest of the game kills it in Forza Horizon 5. But like when you guys, I'm listening to you guys talk about what Xbox has that PlayStation doesn't, or what PlayStation has that Xbox doesn't. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of games that Xbox has that does a little bit of these PlayStation games, but let me say it, like PlayStation game has cinematic, take me serious, artsy, great graphics, open world, narrative driven, a lot of set down the controller and watch a long cutscene. It also has a lot of quick time events where, now people are going to get mad when I say this, but a lot of PlayStation's top games have a lot of button combos where it takes over and the animation happens. Yeah. And then you have this great looking thing. So my example would be Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2018 is one of my favorite games on the PS4. Yep. The whole generation. Like I think that stands up even above God of War for me, which I think is fantastic. But when you get a combo ready, you hit triangle and circle, and Spider-Man will take over for about 5 seconds. Do this incredible thing that you're not controlling.
Right.
Not even the camera. And it looks really good. So it's one of those things that when you show it to people, to the masses, it looks amazing. But when you play Halo Infinite and now I'm not speaking from experience because I wouldn't know, but when you grapple an enemy or a vehicle and you hijack the vehicle, you turn around, you spin, do this, jump off, launch, use the grapple to get over, throw a grenade, stick it, grab something and throw it. Like that's all something that you're doing with your controls. That's all up to you. Thumbsticks, buttons, triggers, timing, right? A lot of PlayStation games, like the big ones we talk about, the Xbox doesn't have the Just One. They don't do that.
Well, what
you know what I'm saying?
Quantum Break. I thought Quantum Break was the same formula, and it did it to a higher extent, to be honest with you. And it wasn't. It didn't grab the masses how it was supposed to, and a lot of Sony first tries. What's the Nathan Drake Uncharted. The first one wasn't all that great, but the second one was better, and it built on the formula, right? So if we got a chance to get Quantum Break 2, who's to tell if it didn't build from that good formula and to the next formula? We had those instances. It was just the wrong people in charge that didn't continue the lineage of the games. That's all it is. And they were renting these IPs instead of owning these IPs. That was the biggest problem.
It's Xbox's number one long-standing issue, and I think it's probably a thing of the past now, hopefully. But they would make these games, and
It's
it
switched.
didn't sell 10 million. Oh, chuck it in the bin. We'll try something else. And it's like, I want a Rise 2,
Yes,
please, because you had something really cool. The setting was cool. The cutscenes were great. The story was well told, if a bit tropey. It was a solid launch title. Yeah, the combat was a bit repetitive, and the fact that there were only like 4 barbarians over and over and over, but
God of War.
you take those elements that worked, and then you improve the stuff that didn't. Guess what?
It's begging
You've got
for
a
it.
sequel that improves upon everything that came before. You have your Uncharted 2 moment, whatever you want to call it. But they have a tendency to just be like, no, we're not going to do that.
But they didn't own
throw
the
that
IP.
No. Well, they apparently they tried, but Crytek were like, yeah, no, you can't have the IP. And then Microsoft, that's fine then.
Yeah,
it's begging for an improved sequel
Should've
for
purchased
sure.
Crytek and make them bend the knee. But that's just
I mean,
how I would do it.
Crytek could use a little bit of humbling, knee bending, King, because they did not do a great job with that Crisis 1 remaster. Crisis 2 is better, the Crisis 2 and 3, but they need to come back to greatness. And if they did a sequel with Xbox or Rise 2, it could be so much better. And I know they've learned so many things. I don't know. I got to give a super chat here. We got Risky for the Biscuit with another one. He's got another $8 Australian super. He says, that's not what I want out of a third-person AA. I want an Xbox-style action-adventure. When he says AA, he means action-adventure. He says he wants Xbox-style action-adventure, but I want it to have their own stamp on it. And I think, isn't that what, was it Matt Booty or Phil Spencer, John, that recently said, I think it was Matt Booty that said, we don't want to go and chase what PlayStation's doing. We want to do our own thing, and we want to make it great.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people took that quote out of context and went, "Oh, he's saying PlayStation are better," or something stupid, something console wars driven. But yeah, I think and I think we're seeing that. I think King, you said it earlier on in the show. Microsoft's year so far has just been like building up and up and up, and just Psychonauts and all of the really cool, unique Game Pass releases. Not every one of them landed. But they're all different. They're all trying something a little strange. Artful Escape, 12 minutes.
Yes,
we
crazy. Yeah.
Forza Horizon 5, and now in
Echo
4
Generation.
weeks. Yeah,
Echo Generation's great. It's good. It's really good. It's not scoring like super high, but I'm playing that with my son. It's really good. Edward King with the
game. Sorry.
No, actually, it's kind of creepy. It
reminds me of Stranger Things.
It is, yeah. It's actually got some cool themes in it, and it's turn-based combat, which I've never liked. But I get a little sweaty playing that. Like, I do not want to die, but I got to give a shout out to Edward King with a £2 super chat. He says Halo officially crossed 250,000 players on Steam all alone. So I'll ask this question real quick from both of you. I'll get it separate answers. John, how many people do you think will be on Halo Infinite a couple days in, knowing what you saw with Forza Horizon?
Well, it's an interesting one because it doesn't have the clever little leaderboard ticker, right? So unless we get some figures from Microsoft, but you've got to think it's available on Xbox One, Series S, Series X, PC, Steam, and it's free to play. What's the record? CSGO has 1.6 million concurrent players, I think.
So how many are going to jump in on the first couple days? That's like that's a crazy wild guess that I want to get from you guys.
I would love to see. I think, man, without official figures, it's hard to say. But if Steam's already at 250k and it's not even like 10 hours in, we're probably going to be looking at over 750,000 by the end of the week. I think something like that. Okay. Maybe even more, and that's just Steam.
Okay, how many do you think across? How many do you think across? Because we may not get those numbers, but how many do you think we'll get across everyone who logs into Halo Infinite to try the multiplayer?
Oh man, if Forza Horizon did 8 million players
in a week,
and that's not free to play, I don't know. I'm scared.
Just take like two guesses. I mean, it has to be
15 million. There you go. Boom.
What?
15. Why not? I don't know.
King, what are you thinking?
I was gonna say 13 to 15 million.
Oh my gosh! Just
that.
In the first 2 or 3 days, you think?
Well, no, I think it's gonna have to take that
or in the week.
Probably by Friday you have that number, because Okay, it's on a beginning of the work week, beginning of the school
Yeah.
week. I would have launched it on a Thursday, Friday, but the 15th doesn't fall on a Thursday, Friday, right? So the true numbers will start kicking in closer to the weekend, and I think the peak will probably be Saturday.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure.
13
Wow.
to 15.
I don't know. I'm just going to tell this real quick because I think it's hilariously tragic. Over here, I have a red guitar. It's like my first electric guitar I ever bought. But I usually have a white Les Paul, which I bought when I hit 100,000 subscribers last year. Nice. And it was an expensive guitar. And I was sitting in here the other day, and it fell off the wall. I have these nice guitar wall hangers. I don't know if you guys are into hardware stuff, like when you do stuff around the house, but the screws slipped out of the sheetrock anchors and the guitar fell onto my desk and I had a heart attack. I was like, what? And so I moved my least expensive guitar there and I bolstered it up with a heavy screw. So somebody asked where that Les Paul is. It's over here. Safe and sound for now.
Guitar Hospital. You know, when I was 16, 17 years old, I used to work at a music shop in the county where I live, and it was called PMT. Yes.
Oh, yeah, PMT UK.
You know? Oh, well, there you go.
I watched their YouTube channel all the time. They got some really cool people there, but go ahead. I'm excited now.
They were actually kind of jerks to work for, but that's a different story. But they did have the Wayne's. Do you remember the guitar in Wayne's World? The Strat that he's like,
the white Strat.
Shall be mine. They had it there, and it was like a 25th anniversary Strat. And this is really bad. I'm making myself sound like a real jerk right now. I was doing work experience with this other guy, and we were cleaning the guitars, and we hung it up high because you meant to keep it out of reach of the customers because you have to have ladders. These wall to floor to ceiling guitar walls, and either he or I put it in the bracket, and the bracket was the wrong way around. So while it hung there for a little while, we were all just standing around, and it just went through 4 other guitars and just splashed onto the ground. I totally was like, it wasn't me. I didn't hang that. And I think he did it might have been me. I can't really remember now. But he did take the blame for it. But look, we're all 16 once. Okay? We all make mistakes.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys. If I see somebody smash a guitar on stage, I get mad. But here's something else that made me kind of mad. Now I try to be reasonable, King. I try to be a nice guy. Okay, right. And Forza Horizon hit 8 million players in a week. Just a niche racing game. It was amazing. And we got our man Geoff Keighley, the Ryan Seacrest of the gaming industry, that is out there getting ready and bolstering people up for the Game Awards. And I looked, he hadn't said one word about Xbox over the past week. So I don't like to be petty. I really try not to be petty. I try not to quote tweet people. I try so hard. And I looked and he said, happy birthday to the PS5. And I looked 2 days before. He did not say happy birthday to Xbox. All right, fine. That's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to be like the whiner that cried about the blue disc for Titanfall 2. All right? I'm not going to be petty. But Geoff Keighley didn't say a word about Forza Horizon 5, which is arguably the biggest game this entire holiday. Am I right, boys, or am I right?
Well, I can say this, right? And this is for everyone. I don't believe Sony did a 25-year anniversary show. I don't think they dropped a transformative game for free on all platforms on their 25th anniversary. They pretty much did exactly what they always do: take you for granted. So,
where are you going with this?
I'm going to the demographics of the people that's always chasing the girl that really doesn't care if you give her attention or don't, because somebody else will always give her attention. And it's always the beautiful girl, the not so pretty girl that grows into the beautiful damsel later, that was appreciative for the information and the stuff that you were giving to her then, and you were rewarded. And that's Microsoft, right? So their 20th came up, and regardless if he says happy birthday or he doesn't, There's 16 million people that did, right? And they showed up and they watched, and we're playing Halo. And they have nothing for the rest of the holiday season since Kenna. That's it. Bye. Have a nice dry holiday. And in January, God of War is on PC and a lot of tears come down and knees. I've been collecting these this whole year and I love it. So I'm not apologetic about it. Don't say happy birthday. And we are going to force Forza down everyone's throat. 8 million, 9 million of us will keep ramming it down their throat, pause, and they're going to have to love the game because the game cannot be denied. Quality speaks for itself. The game is quality from top to bottom. And you don't tell me Returnal because it's not quality from top to bottom. It was a AA game that came in and had bugs that was shutting off people consoles. People had to fight their way to finish it. I have not heard this from Forza. And if it did, we would hear about it. So again, quality title from beginning to end. They gave you a show and it hits you in the mouth with some Halo. So we will end the end of this year strong, where they will be looking over and be forced to buy an Xbox this season.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's good speech. Good speech. John, my friend.
The most wonderful thing is, do you know what I think it is? Of all of this kind of scenario, and Xbox fans had to do a lot of waiting. A lot of waiting.
8 years.
And as much as I don't subscribe to my plastic box made by multi-trillion-dollar conglomerate is better than your plastic box made by multi-trillion-dollar conglomerate, it is amusing to me. I enjoy the salt. Like, I like the seasoning of this time of year. In that people are like, oh, but you know, they're looking over the fence and going, does look pretty good over there. It does look okay, doesn't it? Like, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I can just have both and it's okay. It's not a religion. I'm not going to go to hell.
Tell him, John. I do.
Oh my gosh.
just play games. Games are great. Games are transformative. I mean, I don't know about you guys. You watched Phil Spencer's speech today, right? On the event.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yes.
How can you not like this guy? How can you not like
Everybody likes Phil.
This guy came into Microsoft as a lowly intern 33 years ago, and he just plays games, and he genuinely does. When he's not working, he's online playing. I mean, he plays Destiny 2. I'm not going to judge him, but he plays games. I said that on purpose because I know you're a big Destiny guy. But you know, no one's perfect. But it's you don't get that with any other exec. Where's Jim Ryan?
People, even the
Bowser?
games leaders love Phil. Like, I thought it was funny that Geoff Keighley didn't say anything about Forza. Like, this game's a big deal. 8 million players, and so I put out a tweet and said, hey, Geoff, want to know about your thoughts of how you're feeling about Forza Horizon. It's got this many players already. It's a big deal. And I was nice. And he actually replied to me and he said, it's absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful game. And that's the only and the first and the only response he's had on his Twitter about Forza and Xbox. Well, mostly about Forza. He didn't say a word. I thought it was weird, but everyone's like wondering, can Forza Horizon make it into the nominations for Game of the Year? And we're going to find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
tomorrow.
Yeah. So I think it should too. I got a couple supers here I'm going to get to. We got Mr. Joanna Dark. Thank you for the $5. He says, happy 20th anniversary to you, gentlemen. Happy to be here while playing Halo Infinite. Some people are asking why the chat is slow, but I suspect that there's over 600 people watching live. So some of you have got your phone sitting on the arm of your couch. Thank you so much for listening to us while you play and letting us break your concentration while you try to get those kills. And shout out to Special Nick, who's in the chat. I was going to have him on, but he's got to work. In Australia, it is tomorrow at around noon right now. So he's got to work. So we will get him on. He's amazing. He said he bloody complains about being up late on the weekend. John, but John's a trooper. And, hey, we got the glasses on. Let's see. Yeah. Hargeet with a $5. Thank you so much. He says, how does PlayStation even have a transformative game? Not some third-party thing, but a PlayStation game. A first-party, can't think of anything. One of the things that was going on in the discussion about Game of the Year, Hargeet, is that Ratchet and Clank is an impactful, transformative game this year. And I played it. It's really good. But I don't think of it as transformative or super impactful. Can I put you on the spot, John? Have you played Ratchet? Do you think it has the metal to get nominated?
No, I haven't played it. I think Nick spoke about it a fair bit. He said it's just another Ratchet and Clank game. You know, it's not going to change the world, but I really love Ratchet and Clank. I think he really enjoyed it. But no, it's not something I've played, so I wouldn't comment on it. It looks very pretty. It's
very pretty. King, what about you? Did you load up Ratchet and Clank on your shiny PS5?
My PlayStation 5 hasn't been touched since Miles. But I want Ratchet and Clank. I think Ratchet and Clank, I always like those, like Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Dexter. Those games probably for me, for PlayStation, define PlayStation more than any other games. So I would get it, but I was waiting for a lull in Xbox, and I just didn't get a lull. It just was like hit after hit, and I go into Game Pass and find something else, and then I wake up and I'm like, wow, okay, this is Saturday. Then I back into my game, then I wake up again, there's another random drop. So I'm sorry, it's just too many games for me to go purchase a new game for it to just sit there. So when there's a lull, then I'll probably just go and purchase it.
King, I'll let you in on a secret. There's not going to be any lulls the rest of the Xbox generation.
Yeah,
I don't think there's going to be.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, Sean the Bree was asking Twitter today. Shout out to Sean the Bree. He said, "Should I buy?" He said, "Should I buy Battlefield 2042?" Because people are on the fence because the game's it's a little rough around the edges, but it's a big game. Plus, Halo's out. Halo's gonna kind of really push hard on that. And I said, you might want to wait till the spring when there's. Oh wait, never mind, because I don't know. There's gonna be so many games. We got shout out to Dave Ramos. I've got these sunglasses on. It's kind of hard to see. Dave Ramos with the $5. He says, preach, King David. To see Xbox and Game Pass succeed, the more successful Game Pass is, the more diverse games we'll see. Hard not to love. So we're going to get into Game Pass in a minute, but I want to start off with this one, John. Today, and early this morning for me, Phil Spencer was interviewed by GQ magazine. Yeah, I can't remember which one it was.
It was GQ.
It was UK. Yeah, and he said that they want their games to be exclusives, and Elder Scrolls 6 is meant to be exclusive, just like their other franchises. And this is supposed to be like some big prophetic moment or something. Yep. But did you see this and see the reaction earlier today?
How could they do this? They're leaving all that money on the table. Why would they make games not for PlayStation? I don't understand. I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, I'm sure you could tell. But come on, like I saw that, and funnily enough, one of our guys did a quick article on it, and I've read the article, and look, it's not. I'm not mad at you, Proven. All right, you did the thing. It is news, but it was also like, that's going to be a Twitter feed full of idiots. Like, you got one side going, well, yeah. And then you got the other side going, they took my games away. And then they'll start arguing about how I used to be able to play Spider-Man on my PlayStation or my Xbox. And it just goes on and on and on. Look, it's a business move, right? They bought it. It's theirs now. If you want to play them, if you love Elder Scrolls that much, you've got a million avenues to play it. You can play it.
But Elder Scrolls Skyrim launched on the PlayStation. Like there is an Elder Scrolls game that didn't launch on the PlayStation, but they're like, but Elder Scrolls belongs to everyone.
Yeah.
King, did you get in any fights today over this Elder Scrolls exclusive wow moment?
No, people tend to they've learned to leave me alone. Like they've actually it's learned behavior, right? They've learned. They've sent their generals to me, and I've taken these, and their generals come back shorter and shorter. once Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer has said that, something that I told them was going to happen, but they wanted to hold on to the fact that they said something about legacy games. But that's a legacy, and that's the part of denial, right? That part right there, and you have to come to acceptance, guys. It's going to stop.
I gotta interject another argument that went on today. Phil Spencer says this quote, it blows up on social media and on websites write about it and say, we want our games to be exclusive. That's the point of what we're doing.
Yes.
And then you get the, we'll call them troglodytes. You get the troglodytes out there who say, oh, but Xbox said that the worst thing you could do is be a gatekeeper, and they're gatekeeping their exclusives. John, you're a learned, educated man. Can you please explain to the audience what gatekeeping means when Xbox says the worst thing you could do is gatekeep? What in the heck is that?
Well, like typically gatekeeping is saying, this isn't for you. You can't play this, right? And I can understand why they're using that word, but this is more in a
Dark Souls is difficult, and it's meant to be difficult, and if you're not up to the task, you don't get right.
Yeah, it's a perfect example. This is more a case of no. You're not allowed to ask for an easier setting or an accessibility setting that allows more people to play. Because that would interfere somehow with my experience, even if I could just choose normal and it would be as I've always played it. But no, those extra settings that I'd never touch, they can't be allowed in because that would hurt my sensibilities in some fashion. That's gatekeeping. That's saying, no, you can't have that. This isn't Xbox going, this isn't console wars. It's a freaking business. They spent $7.5 billion. They can do what the hell they like.
But isn't gatekeeping having a DLC that you paid for Spider-Man only on an Avengers game that everybody has purchased and it should be free?
This is why people don't do this to you on Twitter, right? This is why, because you
force me to buy if I want to play Spider-Man on the Avengers game that I actually purchase and have, or that's inside Game Pass, I have to spend this money to play it on the console that I don't care to play it on, but I'm forced to do so because it is gatekeeped from me over here. Okay, you can gatekeep DLC, but we can't gatekeep a whole game.
So what about Spider-Man and Wolverine, King? Like, Spider-Man and Wolverine are Marvel IPs. They've been on multiple platforms. They've been on every platform. Those characters have been on every video game platform for 20, 30 years. And now PlayStation has those two IPs locked down to a PlayStation 5. Or a PlayStation 4, depending on how Jim Ryan believes in generations.
Yeah.
So explain, King, how is that gatekeeping? Is that not gatekeeping?
It's business.
You know what Microsoft can do, right? They can actually make a Spider-Man game and make a Wolverine game, right? Mm-hmm. They have to go to the powers that holds the licensees, show them what game that they want to make. They won't get the same exact game that Sony has because Sony is making a Sony game based of this nature. There has been other games, not the same exact game, on another platform with the same name. It is possible, but they have to go and make these deals. Sony made these deals. You can't be upset. This is business, right? This is big business, high stakes. So
long ago.
Right? So if they show that they can make a successful IP, which I thought Spider-Man was game of the year, bar none, game of the generation probably for the PlayStation, and Microsoft didn't see the value in superhero games at that time, and Sony did. Okay, and they went right back to the well with another well-known character. You can't fault them for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
This is business.
Yeah.
So if Microsoft wants superhero games, go to the powers that be, get these IPs, and make these games. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight. And they could have these deals in tow someplace, and we'll find out later, oh, they have a Hulk game, or they have a Daredevil game, or they have a game that they'll be making, and people will be pissed off that they're doing it.
Well, okay, I got to bring up the other part of this argument because I see a couple people in the chat that aren't jiving with this because they don't like this explanation. But this is exactly how it works. Now, one of the other things that happened, guys, was they tried to use Phil Spencer's words against him because Kotaku wrote an article about 2 years ago that said Phil Spencer doesn't believe exclusives are what they're all about. I can't remember what the quote was. I actually used it today on Twitter. Phil Spencer says exclusives are anti something to what we do. But you know how the troglodytes do, right? They just read a headline and then they use that narrative. But if you read and I'm going to explain this too, we got patch Bloodborne to 60 FPS with the Angry Ellie avatar. So I'm going to let this person down nice and easy and explain to you how the video game. So listen, take a minute. You know what I should say? If you're watching the show, if you're enjoying hearing John from Xbox Era and Lord King David of Iron Lords Podcast, take a second, move the chat out of the way, because I'm going to preach to you for just a moment. Hit the like button. Let's get the show up to 500 likes. This is the XNC Podcast. We're live on YouTube. And if you're listening after the fact, audio only, this is on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, a couple other places. So thank you for supporting the show. I don't want to lose my train of thought, but when Phil Spencer said exclusives are anti whatever the direction of what we're doing, he was talking about locking you down to one device. He said, I know this from memory. He said, I believe that our games should be like your music and your movies, that you take them with you where you want to go. If you buy the game, you own the game, you play it on the devices that you own inside the Xbox ecosystem. Now, when you talk about PlayStation being anti-gamer with exclusives, they lock you down to one piece of plastic. And so Phil says, we want you to play on Xbox One, Xbox Series S or X, PC, cloud, soon smart TVs, or on any browser on any PC that's not capable to game. Now, when you're worried about 150 million players being left out of Elder Scrolls 6 to patch Bloodborne to 60 FPS, I'm talking to you. If you're worried about 150 million players missing on an Elder Scrolls 6, you can play that game literally everywhere but a Switch and a PlayStation console. And if you ask Jim Ryan to get you Game Pass on your PlayStation 5, you will be golden. But otherwise, stop whining. Go buy a PC. You guys said you had a PC to play the Xbox bangers. Literally play that game anywhere but your PlayStation. That's not how it works. You get them in the ecosystem and you keep your customers happy. Now, was I rude or was I a little harsh?
No.
It's just how it is.
A little rude.
So,
a little rude.
So this is kind of the stuff that we've had to deal with, but Phil is trying to explain what's going on with Elder Scrolls 6, and that's basically what's happening. So let's see. Let me see what we're at here. We got. I think it's time to get into the Xbox 20-year anniversary event. Oh man, I'll tell you what.
My suit jacket.
Look at this. All right, let's get in.
Dressed.
Let's get on. John just shut off his mic. He better come back in like a leotard or something fantastic.
I'm gonna pass out if he does.
Now, just so people don't think I'm totally crazy, like this is not an Xbox jacket. This is actually my Halloween costume. I dressed up as a pop 50s character. So I don't know. I just thought it would be good to wear this. King, let's talk about this 20th anniversary event. Kind of lead off and tell people like what you got from the first section, which is all about celebrating the Xbox.
Oh, I love the fact that they're going to do a 6-part documentary into the history of Xbox itself, and going to show that Aaron Greenberg was there from day one, with these marketing teams, and Steve Ballmer and all these guys, and Peter Moore and everyone telling their journey. Seamus Blackley, these guys that helped form what we see as Xbox now. I think John mentioned, how Phil was an intern and risen all the way up to the top of Xbox itself. Those journeys and those conversations needs to be told, because they look back at it and was like, wow, we do have a story to tell. for people that are interested in said story. So it brought back a lot of nostalgia because I was there with all the magazines, and I do want to know some of the behind the scenes and everybody knitting a story together. So it was a little bit heartwarming knowing that this stuff is going to be produced and shown in a 6-part series, so we don't have to worry about anything being cut out. I've heard it's really good from a very good friend of mine that I was playing Halo with today. So yeah, I can't wait for that actually to come out so I can dive deep into that.
Yeah, it's actually really amazing. And the reason why I told the story in the beginning about how I didn't get an original Xbox till 2007, you have to remember, guys, that a lot of you had a 360 for 2 years and were on like your 9th red ring of death, right? And I came in really late.
Happened to me twice.
I came into the 360 the month the Grand Theft Auto 4 release. So,
Wow.
Yeah, to kind of give you an idea of where that was, that's a long time ago. But to see that console, it brought back such great memories.
Yeah. I was
yes.
digging through my attic, and because you go through periods of when you have to clean the house from head to toe and paint and stuff and get into all the crevices and stuff. So I'm digging through the attic, and then I found my Gears of War 360.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, the dark red one?
Yes.
Yeah.
With the controller.
Dealer has that one still.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I turned it on, and it was like, oh my God. So I'm so happy that I still have those. He's crazy, John. I'm still happy that I still have those links to the past. I have my Duke controller. Amazing stuff. It's just truly amazing stuff to see from where it started to where it's going, and as far as going. Hey, did you guys see that meme with Todd Howard saying that Bethesda makes games and not movies?
I forgot. We should have brought that up a few minutes ago, but yeah.
Absolutely amazing stuff. I thought I was going to see Todd yesterday, but maybe in the documentary we'll see him towards the end.
Yeah. Okay, John, what did you get from
for disappearing? By the way,
what did you do?
My kid's got a really bad cough, and he kept me up till 3:30 last night, and he's I need my inhaler, so I had to do the dad stuff, He's
I've had that on my show, and people are like, I'm so sorry, my kids. I'm like, hey, I got kids. Any minute one could come in here with their hair on fire, and we just have to. Hey, get that out of here. We got a show to. No, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, when Mike went off, John, they were expecting you to come back, like looking like Neo from the Matrix and Xbox 20 garb, and you disappointed us, bro.
I'm sorry.
No, but
if my pirate rig was down here, I'd put that on, but I think it's up in storage still. Next time.
So, John, tell us what you got from the Xbox 20 event, because they kind of celebrated this console coming in. King was kind of giving us the rundown.
What when you say what I got, like, did I, in terms of the enjoyment I got out of it, do you mean? Or
did you cry?
Do you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I did cry today, and this is a very true story, right? And it's mostly not because of the show, but because of what's on the screen behind me. And I'm going to take this opportunity to plug it because
yes. Move your head out of the way to let the audience see it for a second, and then go into it. Excuse me. Go ahead.
I'll give you the nutshell. Colteastwood's channel, if you haven't seen our channel. So we've been working on a book for the last year. And it's a book all about the original Xbox. And we've spent a long time on it. And we're getting incredible content creators. Lord Cognito's on board. Colteastwood's on board. King, we're clearly going to have a chit-chat about it. But we are running out of page room at this point. But long story short, we had a prototype made. And the plan was to reveal it today. And we set a premiere. We've been hyping it up. We've been teasing this announcement. And right before it went live, I was a bundle of nerves. It's been a lot of work and a lot of stress to trying to get this over the line and to drop it. And I sat there thinking all the horrible things like, people are going to hate it. People are going to poo-poo it, whatever the phrase you want to use. And then when we premiered and I was watching the community react, and it was nothing but positivity and, wow, this looks cool. And, oh, my God, I can't wait. I literally had a little moment where I was just so grateful to the Xbox community. And I've said it before, but when I talk about how good communities are, the Xbox community is the best gaming community. They love games. And I'm just incredibly humbled and excited to try and bring this to life. So keep an eye on things. If you haven't watched the video, go watch it. We're going to be sharing more details next week. But I actually did shed tears just as a human sort of, it was like an escape of relief. I was like, oh God, it's okay. Everyone liked it. So it was nice.
Of course.
It was a good day.
Of course. I mean, it looks amazing from here, dude. I mean, it looks amazing. So how many pages are in this thing?
So the prototype at the moment is 252. So that's every single game ever released for the Xbox, and some tester pages for, to show people what concept art when we do Q&As with you, Colt, or Tom Warren or Seamus Blackley, the guy, the father of Xbox, when we get all the bits in there. But the final book will be 360 pages. Did you see what we did there?
Yes, sir.
And
I love it.
It's gonna be something special, I think, and it's just been amazing watching the community react to it today. You get the occasional idiot that goes, "Oh, it's only a book," and I'm like, "Learn to read." Get out of here.
Come in audio.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's never.
Can you imagine an audiobook version?
Yeah, I love that.
Terrible.
It's always like the guy who's never held more than two people's attention at the water cooler at work, who always has some slighted comment like that. It's only a book. Yeah, ridiculous, but amazing for you. We got a super chat from Black Eyed Dog with the £5 super. It says, cannot wait for the Kickstarter for the book. So people are back. Xbox Era is amazing. You said this community is so amazing. It's like no other. And the leaders, the executives, Xbox are talking to the people who are playing the games and like the big fans. And Sarah Bond. So Sarah Bond's amazing. Did you guys get this idea that Sarah Bond is going to be taking Phil Spencer's place pretty soon? That's what I'm getting. King, what do you think?
No.
No?
I mean, if he was to step down, which I don't think so. Yeah, she's a good candidate. Above a lot of people. I guess you have to actually show exactly more of what she does. We're learning now. She's one of the driving forces, if not one of the primary forces in Game Pass, and sealing these deals and getting these fantastic day one stuff over to the platform. So I think it's a little bit more visual that you have to see, because at this point right now, it's Peter Moore and there's Phil as the greatest CEO that Xbox has had. Right now, don't discount Steve Ballmer, who actually, the Red Ring of Death problem, and he's write the checks, fix this, because
oh my gosh,
fix this, it doesn't happen. We don't get to this space. But I'm talking about where it was left off and the resources that he actually had to get to this space where it is now. His track record, I think he has to nail that Super Bowl. I think, he has to show, just like Tom Brady did last year without Belichick. You have to nail this one. And trust me, I'm a Jet fan, so I can't stand Tom Brady, but you respect greatness.
Respect.
He has to nail his Super Bowl. He has to nail this generation.
He's got to finish the Xbox Series generation, right?
The fight, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's a great analogy. Yeah, he's got to see this through, right?
Yeah.
He's got to get over the finish line, set the scene, set the stage, set the next horizon.
Yeah.
The rumor is that he wants to at least launch the predecessor to the Xbox Series S and X, which they're already starting to design right now, which, you got the troglodytes who say that they're done with consoles, which they're absolutely wrong. So, I don't know. Sarah Bond's been up front and out in front and center. But Phil's still got some legs left to go. And there's some really cool stuff. No
You know,
way.
they're trying to put him out the pasture because when Don was in charge, right? They saw
Yeah.
the demise happening. This guy's in charge. Excuse me. He can actually. I already predicted there's no PlayStation 6, and then this is not no fanboy stuff. This is just the prediction on what I see the business model going in that way, right? You start off studios in this manner, and you do these little things. And I told people that Jim Ryan was fixing stuff because he's a fixer. He's doing great numbers over there, but they're seeing record numbers when their IPs go into different areas to make larger sums of money. The biggest thing holding them back is research and development. Wipe away research and development, concentrate on your IPs, on what you actually have to offer, and you put it on a diverse platforms, you can make a ton of money instead of closing off in your walled garden. It just makes business sense. I'm thinking in a business manner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Microsoft is already doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's that's what I say. That it's not going to be the same generation, and those guys who think that the PlayStation will continue to dominate, like, it just doesn't work that way. When they showed Phil announcing Back Compat in 2015, like, Incredible. It was a different Xbox era, but Xbox One had such a rough time to go. And behind the scenes, Phil was like fixing all this crap that had piled up with the TV. And I wanted to say something a long time ago, John, when you were talking about how they relied on third-party support. Now it seems like it's flipped to where they're going to make 8 games and partner 2, and then make 8 games and partner 2, right? Hey. And before, it was the other way around. Like, they made 1 or 2 games and everything else was some third-party studio that they don't own and some IP that they don't own or they own half of. It was a totally different scenario.
Look back to 2018. What did he say? At Xbox, our mission is to build an industry-leading first-party studio organization.
Yes.
All right? This isn't... They had 5 studios. 5 for an entire platform.
They did. They had 2 racing studios and a Halo studio, and then a studio making a Halo thing.
They have 23 now. 23 plus global publishing, plus an engine that needs to be fed all the time. This is not only the most interesting generation since I've been playing video games to live through, and I've lived through. We've all lived through loads. The dawn of the HD generation, the dawn of DLC and smaller games on console. This is and Xbox arguably has been driving those first, which is why I think it's so important to look back and remember the 20 years of Xbox, because regardless of whether people like or dislike them and their presence in the industry, they drove progress. It's not always the best progress, right? And they made their mistakes and they made some fumbles, and they admitted that. I can't wait to see the documentary, but they always try to do something new, not more of the same. And we're seeing it again. And I think this gen is going to be transformative, not just for Microsoft and Xbox and how many games we, the consumers, just get to play, but just how the industry itself will run and be looked upon as a medium of entertainment. It's going to be incredible to live through, and I can't wait to see what else I get to I'll tell you what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the next big the seminal moment where we had the Gears moment, we had the Halo moment, we had the movie style narrative game moment, we had the PUBG, the Battle Royale moment. What's the next one? Where's the next? You know
what I think it is?
Big game. What?
I said it before, and I think Sony can snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. They partner in this wild thought of my head. They partner with Netflix in some weird way, right? And Netflix actually wants a gaming division. Sony wants a movie division. Streaming. Let's say you're watching and there's just too many tea leaves that's leading in this area.
Yep.
Let's say you're watching The Last of Us, this show on Netflix. and you have your PlayStation controller in your hand, and it says press X if you want to play this game now, and you press X and you jump into the game, which is a variation of that scene, and it leads from there on. And you can
without downloading or installing, right?
Nothing, just on the cloud, straight streaming. Because I was telling my wife the other day, we were watching The Harder They Fall. I said, do you see the quality of this stream that we're watching right now? This thing is coming close to Blu-ray quality, the 4K quality, disc quality. And I remember a time when we were reluctant, or we just really didn't care to watch streaming. It was like, oh, the quality is so bad. I'd rather have, I'll go buy the movie. But now the quality is at this point. And if they can do that, which I honestly believe it is, because there's more stuff that I got in that area, and more facts and stuff. But if they can do that, and they can get their core base, and Netflix can get Sony's core base, I think they become a juggernaut like he's never seen. That's the only way you can stop Game Pass where it's at now. You have to go in a totally different area. You have to hit them in a space where they are not occupying and not looking at all. Because right now, Game Pass has single-handedly become a parent's haven. We all have children.
Yeah, it's a nice babysitter sometimes. Yeah.
No, but instead of going and buying one game, you go get them a year of Game Pass and walk out the room.
Done.
So you have to beat them at the pass. That's a weird thought, but that's the only scenario that I can see that can actually save something in that manner. Just really, I know it's out there and I know it's wild, but it'll come back and y'all say, wow, he was right at this point.
They're not ready, but it will be second nature in just a few years. It's already doing really, really well. Like Jez Corden from Windows Central says, a year ago he was like trying to really enjoy xCloud, and he says now it's just phenomenal. Yeah. I got shout out to DJ with the $5 super. He says Colt wearing sunglasses, the auto HDR FPS boost, max headroom. So DJ's probably from my era. King, you know who Max Headroom is. John, do you know who Max Headroom is? You got enough of that age in there?
I don't. Like,
it was
educate
it was an American thing, but it was a quasi CG character. They put a guy's head in a box, and they put a lot of makeup on him, and he was supposed to be a computer animated dude, but it was a real guy. But they did him for Coca-Cola commercials. So if you remember
80s show,
if you remember Pepsi or Coca-Cola, but if you remember Back to the Future 2, when he tries to order a drink, there's a guy glitching out. That's Max Headroom, but that's for another discussion. I got to give a shout out to Happy Bomb and Lethal Papa, or Boss Mod Lethal Papa, for keeping the chat in check, keeping the language to a minimum, and taking care of the crazy spam that comes in. Trying to ruin the fun, but you can't ruin this kind of fun. And Carlos Alvarado, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says 250,000 playing Halo on Steam and not including Game Pass. And someone also mentioned those are concurrent players, not total of how many have logged in to play. It's how many are playing. 250,000 people at one time. So Halo's well on its way to big numbers. Let's see, one more from Seth Boothroyd, who says, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. He says, do you guys think we'll see a refresh slim version of the Xbox Series hardware, or will they wait until next gen? John, take this question, please.
No. And the fundamental reason is there's no chips. There's no chips to make consoles that are this sized. If you're talking about fabricating something at, is it 10 mm or 10 nm? It's not going to happen. There's diminishing returns here. They did a big interview, I think, with Digital Foundry at the beginning of the rollout to Series X and S launching, the same for PS5, and they kind of set the stage there. They were like, if you're thinking in 2 years you'll get a Series X Slim, probably not. We've gone all out now. We won't need to do that unless something happens miracle wise with resources. I don't think you're going to see a mid-gen refresh this time around.
Yeah, not an improved console, like
No.
is what John's saying. King, what do you think about what do you think is going to happen?
We already got a slim. It's called Little Man. That's Xbox Series S. so if you want it, it's in stores right now. Just go purchase it, and there you go. Boom. But on the serious side, these consoles don't need a mid-gen refresh. These consoles are robust enough CPU-wise and GPU-wise. They just need a refined tool set for the dev kits. They actually have dev kits now and not PCs that they were using as
for the first 6 months or so. Yeah,
exactly, in this COVID era. So you're going to start seeing real games. I say 2022, 2023, those games that are built off the mature dev kit models, and they will refine those tool sets going through. We should have information on that this Sunday. Big information on that, but trust me, y'all see what these consoles can really do starting 2022, 2023.
Hells yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. I'm just glad I got my console. Like, it's just really bad. Like, it's like it's never going to end, this chip.
Oh, John,
everything's tough to get.
John,
I can't even get a mini fridge.
Message and DM me right now so I can send you commercial of Max Headroom, because my wife was asking me, who you texting?
Oh.
I'm like, I was looking for John.
But,
yeah, man.
Wait, what's your Discord? I'll ping you on. You got Discord?
No, I threw Discord in the bushes.
Fair.
Yeah,
fair.
Right. Twitter.
Yeah,
Twitter,
that's a total icon of like the late, I think it was late 80s for Max Headroom. Yeah, it's so funny. So one of the other big things they talked about kind of came with some bad news. Are you guys okay with some bad? You ready for some bad news?
Hit it.
The Xbox Back Compat team, which Jason Ronald was helped running for a while, and the man Bill Stillwell was helped running that team, and now he's with HoloLens. The Back Compat team is retiring. Like they're done. Mm-hmm. They've brought 4,800 Xbox One, Xbox Original, and Xbox 360 games forward to the Series X, all with auto HDR, all with performance and 60 times anisotropic filtering, which means some of the textures will look better than they should, and hundreds of them with either FPS boost or the Hochi method, up resolution. So they put out their last batch of Back Compat today, 70 games. So I think that puts them well over 600 360 and Xbox original titles, which were cut off from Xbox consoles. This is something PlayStation has not even done it whatsoever. The Xbox One and Xbox 360 Gen era games, there are tons playable. So I don't know. Do you guys play these games? But there's some cool news I want to cover on this.
Yes, I definitely play everything. Shout out to Bill Stillwell, great guy, great friend. Even better person. To be honest with you, Jason Ronald. Like I said, we have great information next week. You'll see. But all those games that they did get a chance to do, and they said that the biggest barrier that they had was the licenses. Some of these agreements, are gone. They weren't renewed. Some of the music and some of the stuff, some of the coding in the stuff that they couldn't come to agreements with a lot of the developers. But the games that they were able to do, to get 600 plus games, Back Compat, frame rate boost, all of this stuff, that's amazing to do. And like you said, the PlayStation doesn't have stuff like this in place because the infrastructure, like Bill said, was golden. It was some stuff that they stuck to, and they stuck to their guns, and they believed what they were doing, and they had the best and the brightest working in the background doing this stuff. And it's literal magic in what they were doing and what they were able to achieve and how they brought that stuff. So I want you to think about how a game used to look, and our brains fool us to think that it looks great, right?
Yeah.
And then when we go back, we're like, oh, it's horrible. But with this Back Compat and frame rate boost, we go back. It's how our brain envisioned it, and sometimes it's even better. So, like playing Blinks and stuff like that, I love these guys, and they made my old games new again. So I'm just thankful at all times for these dudes.
There is some good news though with this. I know
All right, let's
the
hear
last
it.
hurrah of 70 games as a last hurrah is a pretty admirable effort overall, right? And I know it's disbanding, but I did see Jason Ronald, he did confirm that the team they're not going away. They're not being disbanded completely. They're going to stick together. They're just going to take on a new challenge. You know, they'll do something else. They're the best and brightest, as you said, King, right? You know, they've figured out a miracle for us that play games to enjoy all of our old titles in better and new ways. So who knows what they might be up to next. So at least take some comfort from that although the backwards compatibility program is ending, the team isn't going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. I want to read it's a long list of 70 games, and the 70 back compat games wasn't super impressive, okay? But I want to cover the FPS boost titles, and I'm going to read through some of the I'll read almost all of them, but I want to leave them open for discussion because there's some big hitters, and I'll start with Alan Wake, which just got a remaster. Alan Wake is now FPS boost on back compat. I already own the game. They gave it away with Games with Gold at one point, so that game is getting FPS boost. Or you can buy the high resolution 60 frames version of it for $40 or whatever. So the value is amazing. What no other console has done this before. Offered you free access to your legacy games. PlayStation has them behind a paywall through a streaming service that most people don't want to use. PlayStation or Nintendo Switch has you pay for the online access to play legacy Nintendo and NES or Super NES games, right? So this is behind a paywall. Xbox does this for free. So I'm going to name a couple of these, and feel free to interrupt me if you want to say something about these games, because a lot of these have a big impact on us as we grew up playing the Xbox and the Xbox 360. The other game is Assassin's Creed, which is already 4K through the Hochi method. So Assassin's Creed 1 is already native 4K with 16 times texture filtering. Now it's got FPS boost at 60. So it's 4K 60 like a PC would do. Another interesting one is Sega's Binary Domain, which is a third-person shooter where you're shooting people or robots. I don't know if you guys have played that one back in the day.
It's a bit Gears of War-y from Sega.
Yes, it's one of those where they cashed in on the Gears of War mechanics. Darksiders. Darksiders runs at 30, now it runs at 60. Dead Space 2 and 3.
Beautiful,
right?
Yeah.
Dragon Age Origins.
beautiful.
Origins. Is that the second one?
That's the
First
one.
one.
Red cover.
Okay, and then Dragon Age 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Elder Scrolls Oblivion, super old. Fear and Fear 3.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
those.
And then Fable Anniversary and Fable 3, but not Fable 2. What's that about?
Fable 2 to me is the GOAT. I don't
is.
care what they do. I still play it.
Fable
Man.
2 is 4K 30. It got the Hochi method. It got the full resolution to 4K with the filtering, but no FPS boost.
Yeah, Fable's one of those ones. Like I didn't play Anniversary because when it came out on 360, it was like it was that weird time. It was right before the Xbox One launched. It's like here's Fable Anniversary, and I was just like, it just felt bad to play. I really can't do 30 FPS anymore. So now that I hear it's 60,
I get back into it.
might be time to revisit.
Gotta
that
tell
bad boy.
Pop those achievements.
Yeah.
Here's my favorite. Oh, I'm so happy. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas.
Wow.
60 FPS boost.
Nice.
So old games, but I can tell you, John, Fallout New
happy
Vegas
man.
still holds up, bro. It's so good. Like those old mechanics don't stop me. I've actually got some time into it over the past year.
Obsidian don't miss.
No.
They don't miss.
Why, John? Why don't they give? Why? We just heard Todd Howard. I actually didn't put this on my topic list, but Todd Howard's interviewed by Ryan McCaffrey of IGN, and he asked him about Fallout 5, and he said, we're going to finish Starfield first, and then our next project is Elder Scrolls 6. And if you do the math, Elder Scrolls 6 probably comes out in 2025, maybe even 2026, which means they're not going to start out in Fallout 5 and get that out to like 2030. And by then, I may not even be around anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, you know, I know that now all the IPs are shared, and I'm sure that if someone really wanted to within Obsidian and said, I want to make Fallout, that someone would listen. But yeah, let devs make what they're going to make, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I get kind of tired of sequelitis a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the only game that I will happily play more of is usually Halo, and that's about my limit.
And Halo doesn't come very often anyway, John.
Halo doesn't come, and this has been the longest wait for Halo now.
Yeah.
And it's been weird for me because I actually got to finally tell everybody that I've been working with 343 on it for the past 2 years.
Yes, you know, do some bragging here. Tell people you've been working. Tell them what you've been doing.
It's not a brag. It's not. I did a video on it, like, because I'm
Come on,
allowed
King.
to talk about it.
This is good, right?
Hell yeah.
It was a very cool opportunity, and I'm you know, people give 343 a lot of shit unnecessarily, I feel, and I've had a privilege to work with them on maps to get into matchmaking for Halo 5 back in the day, Halo 3 that was Bungie obviously, but when I worked with them on Halo 5, they were fantastic. And 2019, it's just before Christmas, I get a little DM on my phone. I wake up to it, and at first it's like 6 a.m. and I'm like, you know, what does this say? And it was from Unishek, or John Unishek, the community manager at 343, and he's like, "Hey, John, I want to talk about Halo with you, but I need to get you under this big old NDA first." And I'm like,
Ooh.
Okay. I was very awake, like super light. I was like, oh, like freaking out, you know, like this is, you know, we spoke about it at the beginning of the show. This is 20 years I've played this franchise, 20 years. And suddenly, you know, I'm, hey, can we talk about it with you? But long story short, I flew out to 343 in March 2020, just as the pandemic was about to hit. And got to do some stuff, and I've been working on the Forge bit because that's my jam from a Halo point of view. I like to make maps, and I know it's delayed and I can't really say too much more.
So you're the reason. No, I'm just joking.
In fact, one of the key things is nothing is my fault is the key takeaway I need.
I gotta ask you, John.
You talked about it with the guitar.
Yeah, nothing is my fault.
I gotta ask you, John. Like when people were like, "What the crap?" You know, like where's Forge? You're very supportive of Halo. Waiting for Forge.
Hey, as a big Forge fan, and I'm sure 343 won't begrudge me for saying this. I am sad that it's not there at launch. I really am. But let's take the time to get it 100% right, because
absolutely.
I can't. No, I'll get in trouble even if I tease. I really can't say. Like Microsoft lawyers are scary, and I don't want to get sued. But what I will say is this: I saw the passion from everybody at 343. I saw how much they care about the community of Halo fans. And it's not like I agree with every decision they'll ever make, but
sure, the
hearts are in the right place. And I wish them every success on December 8th when the full campaign comes out. I mean, multiplayer is already incredible. It's been a privilege to work on it over this time period. The best thing is I don't have to lie anymore. Like, we've got our own Halo podcast, and I've not been able to go on it because I just didn't want to lie to everybody and be like, I've got no idea what's
that's got to be tough. There are things right now that I can't even. I was thinking about as I'm getting ready for the show. I was like, I wish I could talk about this because I have so much passion about things I want to talk about. But there's things you just can't talk about sometimes.
About things.
But yeah, it's just. It's so exciting. Like, it's just a good time.
It's a privilege.
Shout out to Killanitis for joining as a channel member with the Joanna Dark emblem that I created. So welcome to the channel. If you're a channel member, when I put out videos, I usually finish them in the evening. So they go up that evening as early access for channel members and patrons. And then the video goes up the next morning. So I guess that could be nice. You get kind of an early access. You get to jump on the comment section right away. So that's cool. But thank you so much for joining the channel. And for Havoc with the $2 stake, he says, how sad are the people that downvoted the video? Well, they're really sad. They're really unhappy because they don't like Xbox and it's a rough holiday for them. And I'm going to give you a little insight. If you're not happy with what Xbox is doing because your favorite platform isn't doing it, you might want to get used to it because Xbox is here. They have arrived, and there are good things coming. I want to get through this list. There's a couple more games we got to talk about that are getting FPS boosts, which is a big deal because you bought this powerful console. You don't want to play at 30 FPS anymore. Far Cry 3 is FPS boosted. I don't know if that's the original, or the definitive edition that came with Far Cry 5. Probably the original, but we'll see. I mean, it's the same engine, should work. But Gears of War 1, 2, 3, Judgment, and finally Ultimate Edition, which is at 4K. So Gears 1 Ultimate Edition is now 4K 60. King, are you going to go back and give these a try and see how they feel? Or are you moving on?
I might do Judgment.
I was thinking the same thing tonight. I actually downloaded it again.
Yeah, I love Judgment when probably everybody hates it. Like they call it.
I liked it
for some weird reason. I thought it was the most colorful out of all of them. I thought they chose a brighter color palette, and the mood was a little bit livelier, even though the world is bleak. I enjoyed it.
The story was more about the cogs. It was about Baird going in trial, right? So it actually had a good story, and the challenges when you step into a new mission, a new level, there's a challenge on the wall that says like only use shotguns or get this many kills. And I'm like, what is this? And it made the game so much more enjoyable, and it got crapped on so much.
I don't know. People don't like change, but I love it. I love innovation in certain aspects, so it doesn't turn into the same old. A lot of those games on the list that I will go back just for S's and giggles, just to to touch this stuff up, because I think that a lot of times, like I said, we believe a game looks one way until we go back to it, but now there's no more fear. Like, you pop it in and it's like 4K 60. What? So I can't wait to do some of these games on this list, and I have a ton of them. That's what makes it feel so good that my backlog isn't left.
Yeah. John, like this is crazy. Like consoles aren't supposed to do this. Like when you get a new generation, it's like they just take the butcher knife and they slide it off the table, and those games are done. Like I've got a couple more to cover here, but are you going to go back and visit some of these titles and see how they feel, or are you moving on?
Gears? No. Sorry, Gears fans. Like
blasphemy.
It's a pretty game, but I only ever played Gears for the campaigns, and they were one and done for me.
Me too.
But I mean, I often dabble. I'll nip in and just to feel, but it's only if really a game is either something I haven't played for a very long time, and I need to actually check. There's one game that I would actually love to play again from Ninja Theory, and I'm not sure if it's on the back compat list. Chat, keep me honest here.
It's not.
Odyssey.
No. I wish
it's too late.
It's such a great
game. If it's
game.
not there, it's not happening.
It's never been back compat. Dang. That's such a good one.
Yeah. Odyssey to the West.
Odyssey to the West, yeah.
With Andy Serkis as the
Andy Serkis. Oh, that game is so amazing.
And really good.
I played that one on a whim toward the end of the 360. I loved it. And dang it. That's such a great one. I got a couple more games here to cover. I'm skipping some, but Mirror's Edge, one is going to get 60 FPS. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which I think was like 2011. Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed is such a cool game. I think they gave it away with Games with Gold. But it's a kart racer, right? Yeah. It's basically a kart racer with Sonic the Hedgehog's characters, but you can push a button and turn your car into a jet or a boat, I think. Yeah, boat, car, and a jet.
Diddy Kong Racing just for Sonic. Because remember when Diddy Kong Racing, like when you go to different terrain, your car would transform into different terrain. Like, so if it was a plane or whatever.
Yep.
It's so, yeah, I love that game. So I love it.
Yeah, that one's really cool. In fact, I think I bought that one on Steam a long time ago because those games were locked at 30 forever. And I'm like, got to play a racing game at 60. So that is a dream come true. And a couple more are Sonic Generations, Sonic Unleashed, and then an old Star Wars, The Clone Wars. I probably won't check that out. But this is that's what I call transformative.
A lot of Sega.
Jay Nichols says Enslaved is $13 on Series X. Man, if that it can't be back and pat. If it was, I would buy it.
It's back compat.
It can't be. If it was, I would buy it. But Jay Nichols says Enslaved is $13. Is he saying on the Series S store, I will go buy that tonight?
I'm going to go and have to investigate this now. Although it is rocking up to 3 a.m. So maybe not now, but definitely tomorrow.
Yeah. We got to let you hit the rack. But Yodana Quizada.
10 more minutes.
We're wrapping up here. Yodana Quizada, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. He says, I want to drop by and say hi. Halo Infinite multiplayer got me. So he's got the needle in the arm with the controller attached to it. Shout out to over 700 people that were nice enough to listen to us talk about this amazing day for Xbox. Well, guys, it's time to go play Call of Duty. It's time to play Halo multiplayer. Call of Duty Vanguard is the worst one. This is like they've had the worst reception of 14 years or something. It's Xbox time, baby. It's Xbox's hour. So it's going to be so good. So thank you so much. This is the XNC Podcast, and I'm closing out here with John Clarke from Xbox Era and Lord King David of the Iron Lords Podcast. We had a great night. There's so much celebration, but we all have to rest up because Halo multiplayer is going to absolutely take up all of our time until launch. John, give one more plug about this book. Tell them where they can find you. I've got your Twitter in the description so they can follow you on Twitter, but give us the out.
I mean, sure. Hey, xboxera.com. We've got forums, we've got YouTubes, we've got Spotify's, you name it, we've probably doing it. And now we've got a library. It's only got one book in it and it's yet to be made, but we do want to make the book. So feel free to check it out. Kickstarter launches next week. It's going to be special. There's some really cool things we're doing with the Kickstarter because, like I said before, the community is what makes the Xbox community the best it is. And there's a chance for you to get your name in the book and be a part of the team that helped make it and bring it to life. So I'll share more next week, but keep an eye out for it. And Colt, King David, it's been a pleasure hanging with you this evening. I didn't think I'd make it to 3 a.m. I do have a feeling I'm just going to straight up collapse at some point when I turn off the monitor. But it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad I didn't bail and miss it, because it's always great to appear on the show. So I appreciate it, Colt, for the invite. And King David, great to meet another Lord of the Iron Realm. Yes. It's an absolute privilege. And yeah, what a day. Good day today.
Yes.
I owe you one, buddy. Thank you so much for donning the sunglasses and joining us tonight. It's absolutely amazing. Follow John and the Xbox Era team on their Twitter and on their YouTube channel, and check out their podcasts, which goes live every Saturday. You've got John from the UK and his partner in crime, Special Nick from Australia. So they are spanning the globe, doing their thing. Thank you so much for being on the show, Lord King David, the wheelbarrow of knees carrier across the countryside. Thank you so much for being on the show. You are awesome, man. I cannot wait to see you. I will see you this June at E3 2022 in person with the yellow Corvette. Tell them where to find you.
This year it'll be a Maserati.
Yes.
Colt, you know I can't tell you no. So meeting him in person, he's as infectious as he is on the show. The smile is incredible. He is a great dude. John, I've been trying to link with you guys to get on Xbox Era, and we're going to make that stuff happen.
We're going to make it happen.
Like I said, we've been 2 ships in the night, to be honest with you. But you found out my secret with the shades. You found out my secret, and your eyes is a little bit tired, and you put the shades on, and the screen is not so harsh on your eyes, and you could actually make it through the show. So you found out my secrets.
I learned from the best.
and Colt joined us. You can find me on Xbox. On Iron Lords Podcast Sundays at 11 a.m. Lordsofgaming.net. Go there. We have the Lord's Minute where you can look into the backgrounds of a lot of stuff that we'll talk about there with our illustrious writers. We have a ton of great writers that are doing incredible work. Just go check out the website. And I'm telling you, if I'm lying, you can collect my knees on Twitter, Lord King David. Trust me, once you go there, you're going to realize a lot of things. And if you love these great statues, I do a show on DCX that's Legion of Doom, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about high caliber statues, premium stuff, and you can get a chance to look in the millionaires' pockets and understand why most of us are broke.
And we get to see Rastafarian Jim Ryan as well.
Oh,
which,
you mean Jamaican Jim?
I love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the most charismatic Jim Ryan has ever been is when he's on you guys' show. So yeah, thank you so much. And, shout out to the over 700 people that watch the show and the 500 here listen to us give the outros. You guys are amazing. XNC Podcast is a brand new show. I started it in May. This is episode 28. Struggling to kind of find my voice in it, but you guys are amazing in the support and people like John and King David who show up here to power the show with such an amazing chat. You guys are awesome. We're going to get out of here and let these guys either get to sleep or take a no-dose. Doctor's not recommended, and play all night of Halo multiplayer. So what a great day for Xbox. It doesn't stop and it won't stop. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Check us out live now and check us out on demand. Thank you so much. We are out of here.
Peace.